Okay, we're on our third set of questions here, which I think are questions number 5 and 6 in your assignment. Here we have a wheelchair ramp, and a wheelchair ramp is 50 meters long. The angle of inclination is 4.8 degrees. What's the rise of the ramp? So if I'm drawing a wheelchair ramp, I'm probably not drawing it like that. I'm probably drawing something a lot more like, well, this, something that is easy to get up. Before we do any calculation, I'm going to look at my options. If this is 50 meters long, so 50 meters this way, or 50 meters this way, doesn't matter. Well, it does matter a little bit, but how high is this going to rise up? Could it rise up 40 meters? No, that would be a super steep ramp. Well, less steep than that, but a little bit taller than it would otherwise be. To go up 40 meters on a ramp, you had better have some kind of safety stop here at the bottom in case the person gets tired or somebody slips or it's icy. This cannot be. This is way too steep. If it was 0.0837, that is 8 centimeters. If it was an 8 centimeter bump, that's not even as high as one stair. So to have a 50 meter ramp to go up 8 centimeters, ridiculous. You probably have a ramp that's only a meter or so long. So that leaves us with these two as possibilities. 10 is still a pretty steep ramp. If it was 10 versus 50, pretty steep, but well, I don't know about possible, but at least not crazy. So let's check. Now, what we're not sure about right now is whether this 50 meters belongs here or there. We're going to try it both ways, just to see if there's a difference. So if the 50 meters is their hypotenuse, or I'll do it, I guess, in a different color. If 50 meters is this line right here. So the angle of inclination here is 4.8 degrees, which would make this one our adjacent side. So I'm going to try it both ways. We'll see if we get conflicting answers or answers that work out. So if it is the hypotenuse, and we want the rise of the ramp, so how high it goes up, that is our opposite. If this is a hypotenuse, then we've got opposite and hypotenuse to play with. We would do sine. And we're looking for our opposite side. So we would solve for opposite. No, yes. And the hypotenuse might be 50 meters times the sine of 4.8 degrees. 4.8 degrees, if we take the sine function of that, it is 0.08367, which, just as a reminder, that number showed up there. That's if you just took sine 48 and called it a day. So this is 50 meters times sine of 48. It's our opposite side. And if I multiply that by 50, we get 4.183892, whatever, meters for our opposite side. So this could be our answer. Although if we're not sure, we should check this one out too. If this was the adjacent sign, we would be using cos. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Hypotenuse times cos of theta is my adjacent. Hypotenuse, let's just pretend like I didn't just do that, and like I did something smarter. In this case, we have our opposite and our adjacent, not our hypotenuse. We use that up over here for this way that the question might be. So this would be opposite and adjacent. That's tan. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. We're looking for opposite still, so adjacent times tan of theta is opposite. Adjacent might be 50. Depends on our interpretation here. Times tan of 4.8 degrees. If we take the tangent of 4.8 degrees, that's 0.0839, slightly different from our sine. and I'll keep the full value in there. Multiply it by 50 meters. And if I multiply by 50, I get 4.19 meters. Pretty close. No matter which one I chose, I would be led to A, which is great because going up 4 meters over 50 is something that I feel is safe and reasonable to do in a wheelchair. If you're wondering what is the actual interpretation of this diagram, the ramp itself is 50 meters long. I would interpret that as being this one. So this answer here would be what you're really going for. The reason why these two answers are so close because the triangle is shaped like this. But it wouldn't be true if the triangle was steeper, if this angle of inclination was steeper. Then this side here would be shorter, this side would be longer. But here, as we get our triangle narrower and narrower, I'll just grab a triangle and start with a triangle like this, your answers wouldn't be so close. Not so close, not so close. But as we go to here, that's really close. And if we made a triangle that was super long and had basically no rise, then our hypotenuse and our adjacent are basically the same length, right? Really, really close. Here they're very different. Here they're very different. Here they're very different. But the skinnier the triangle we get, the less difference. And because this is a 50-meter long triangle that it's only going up 4 meters, that's why we got such a close result that time. So this is not the right interpretation for this question, but if you chose it, you would still have gotten the right answer for this really skinny triangle. For our next one that I believe is our 6th question on here, we have a triangle. Side BC is 39 centimeters, and side AC is, oh, that's 30, sorry, 30 centimeters, and side AC is 39 centimeters. What's the measure of tangent ratio of angle A? Angle A is this one here. This is our angle. I'm not going to call it theta, they called it A. To the nearest tenth. So tangent of an angle is opposite over adjacent. My opposite side is 30, which is good. My adjacent side is this side. I don't know it. So to find adjacent, which is side AB, we're going to have to use Pythagorean theorem, which we can do because this is a right triangle, so we're good. So that's a squared plus b squared is c squared. I'll call this side A, this side B, and this side C. I don't know. So c squared minus b squared equals a squared. 39 centimeters squared minus 30 centimeters squared equals a squared. And in order to actually get just a out, I'm going to need to take the root of both sides. So if I take 39 and square it, which is 1521, I subtract the square of 30, which is 900. I'm left with 621. So the root of 621 is a. And the root of 621 is 24.9. So I'll just write that up in here. This side here is actually 24.92, I don't know, 919 centimeters long. So I found my 24.9 centimeters there, and that is my adjacent, and my opposite is, so I'll highlight them, the adjacent side here and the opposite side there. This one was hypotenuse, which I don't want because it's not in my ratio for 10. So opposite over adjacent, and the opposite side was 30, and the adjacent side was 24.9. These were both in centimeters, but because they're both in centimeters, they can cancel out. So 30 over 24.9. And 30 over 24.9 is, where's my mouse? What's happening? Is our opposite over adjacent for angle A. So it's not in there. I'll have to fix this question. I'll do that now before too many of you attempt this quiz, or attempt this assignment. So it should be 30 over 24.9, which is going to be one of these. Weird. Okay, I'll fix it before you see it, hopefully.